All right, let's finish out the notes. I want you to take a moment. This is the absolute value equations, the rest of the notes. And I want you to take a moment and answer all of the questions down there, and then try the 2 practice problems at the end. So pause this video, and in a couple seconds, you can, when you're done, you can unpause it and I'll show you the answers. All right, here are the answers. Obviously, you don't have to have exactly what I have, but maybe something close. Number 1, what is absolute value? It's the number of steps a number is from 0. We also think of it as its magnitude, which is not really what we talked about, but it's out there, and it's always going to be positive. Number 2, why is absolute value always positive? Because the direction that we're traveling doesn't matter. All I care about is the distance or the number of steps that I'm taking. Number 3, when we're solving, we must rewrite the value. How do we write these equations? First, we have to isolate our absolute value, get it by itself. Then we're going to set it equal to the positive number and the negative number, because it's positive steps and negative steps. Number 4, what do we do if the absolute value isn't isolated on one side? We isolate it using inverse operations. So if it's adding, we subtract. If it's multiplying, we divide. Number 5, why do we always have to check our answers? Absolute value cannot be negative, and sometimes the problem will have an absolute value be negative, like in example number 4, and then there's no possible solution. Number 6, if you see this problem, what 2 equations could you write to solve it? So you could write this value equals positive 13, and this value equals negative 13. Number 7, if you see this equation, what 2 equations could you write to solve it? This is kind of weird. We didn't do an example like this, but there's a variable inside the absolute value and outside, but the principle still stays the same. You're going to have this value equals a positive 3x, and this value equals a negative 3x, and then you're going to solve for x. If you see this equation, what 2 equations could you write? Now, again, the right side looks a little bit weird. My absolute value is isolated, so that's okay. But I'm again going to take the positive and the negative of this entire value. So this 2x plus 3 is equal to a positive 3x plus 1. And then this 2x plus 3 is equal to a negative 3x minus 1. And then I would have to distribute my negative and solve for x. Your answers to the practice, you should get z equals to 1/2 and negative 1. And I checked my work down there and they both check out. Number 2, you should get x equals 2 and x equals negative 5/3, and those both check out there. Hopefully, you guys are starting to become whizzes at absolute value equations.